Hi, so still looking at the idea of control. And let's look at let's take one of those areas, say thought. Oh, because this is massive, isn't it? Thought is believed to be entirely personal. They're my thoughts. I'm having these thoughts, I'm experiencing them. I wish I didn't have these thoughts. I wish I could think more positively. And so a whole world is built up around the idea that the individual self is the thinker, is the one doing this somehow, which inevitably, of course it does, leads to the belief, I'm doing this, I'm having these thoughts, I'm somehow making them happen, so therefore I should be able to control them. So if a thought comes in that seems to create daughter coming in. Yeah, so if a thought comes in that seems to create unrest or unease or conflict or antagonism, how do we get rid of it? How do we create that eternal sunshine of the spotless mind? How do we control our thoughts to only have the right ones? And that's so fascinating, because what the thing that's judging the right thoughts, this should be different, this should be a better thought, a more positive thought, a thought that brings happiness, that thing itself is a thought. The whole thing is a thought. So we have this really bizarre setup where thought is trying to control thought according to the thought of what's okay and what's not okay. The whole thing, which is why, really, with the 3 Ps, there's that enormous breakthrough of, wow, that the whole reality is the creation of thought. But then if we don't keep going with that, if we don't keep going to the realization and the self that thinks it's experiencing that apparent reality is also a thought, then we're stuck then in that limbo land of a real self experiencing this thought created reality that should be different, this reality that's creating all these problems, and yet we're totally powerless to change it, totally powerless. And all that conversation does really is to ramp up that feeling of self-blame, that I should be able to control this and yet I can't. So it's brilliant. So and I think it seems to be what Sid was continually pointing to is that the self that believes it's the thing in control of all that is non-existent, is not doing any controlling. So then it takes us to the question, who is having the thoughts? Where are they coming from? What is bringing them into existence? What makes them stay around? We don't know, do we? We don't know where they're coming from. We have no idea. But it's much more realistic to consider that thoughts arise like sound arises, like experience arises. And it's arising within this space, this awareness or this presence that we are. The self isn't controlling them, but the witnessing space is receiving them. And then there might be an action according to them. Again, there's no control by the individual self of that. That's a response by the body and mind. There's no self involved in controlling that. There's no decision being made. It's just whatever thought arises that is most believable will result in the program being activated. And this is all happening within the witnessing space that we are. So there's no personal involved in it. There's no personal control. There's no personal claimant of these thoughts are mine. It's just they're just arising. And what that does is it makes them completely neutral, because they say nothing about us as an individual, as a excuse me, as an identity, as a as a being, as who I am. Oh, sorry, I think I might have swallowed a fly. I don't want to re-record this all over again, because I think this is as good as I'm going to get it. Yeah. So because there's no longer that, what does this say about me? What does this mean for me? These thoughts lose their lose the stickiness that would stick onto this venerable self, and so they come in, they're assessed against whatever current understanding is there of what's real, who we are, and then they move off again. Totally neutral, completely impersonal, no individual controlling them at any stage. No individual having any possibility of changing them, no self being able to change them. Just like the weather, coming in, does its thing, turns into something else. That's all it is, totally impersonal. And for the self that would claim the thoughts to not to dissolve, to dissolve in the face of inquiry as to who actually is doing that, is absolutely enormous, isn't it? It's such a huge falling away of the exhaustion and effort of trying to control something that is itself only a thought. Yeah, so something trying to control another thought, a thought trying to control a thought. Yeah. So there we go. Let's see how that settles, and see you tomorrow. Bye.